Thank you. Do I need a microphone? Or? No, you're fine. Oh, okay, excellent. Thank you very much for the invitation to be here today. It's fantastic to be part of this incredibly important debate at this particular time in the Internet's quite short life, actually, especially in the US and the UK and here in Italy and Europe as well. The issues are relevant all around the world. So, my name is Wil Stephens. I run a digital production company called Cube. We're based actually in Wales, in Cardiff in Wales. We're a production company that's involved in creating online content, services, games, and various other things for broadcasters, entertainment companies, and a lot of other media companies. I want to talk a little bit about net neutrality and its importance around making data open and the connection between open data and net neutrality, and also the opportunities that presents to entrepreneurs and social enterprises around the world to use this data for various means. So I want to begin with a quotation from Sir Tim Berners-Lee, who many of you know as the father of the internet. And he says here that openness of data and the neutrality of the network should be considered as important as free speech. That's quite a statement. And he goes on to say open data can now be considered a basic right of citizens. Now that's quite a powerful statement to open with, and I think that we need to remember that in the context that we're discussing these issues this evening. So earlier this year, championed by Sir Tim Berners-Lee and others, the UK government set out to free its data. And at the beginning of this year, in January or February, it launched a considerable website called opendata.gov, which aimed to free up a huge amount of data. And actually, it's very relevant because this very week, David Cameron, the Prime Minister of the UK, set out plans to open up government data to empower citizens even more. And this is how far we reach in the significance of this. From July 2010 this year, government departments and agencies have to ensure that any information published includes the underlying data in an open and standard format. Now, what that means is if you get a press release or a piece of publication published, then the actual data that's made up those numbers and figures have to be published as well in an open and standardized format that you can machine read and reuse and mash up as you wish. So we're in the middle of a significant revolution here. I'll show you the current website as it stands. This is called Unlocking Innovation. And at launch, Data.gov UK has nearly 3,000 data sets available for developers. The US site, data.gov, has less than 1,000 data sets today, and it was launched 6 months earlier. But we've still got a long way to go. But we're doing some fantastic progress, and the guys have done amazing work on this. We've gone as far as putting a prize fund together. There's £20,000 prize funds for startup entrepreneurs to build applications on top of this data. So people are actually actively building very interesting applications on top of this data. So what kind of data have we got, and what kind of apps are being built? We're doing a lot of work visualizing this data, making it easier for people to understand what this data means, what these numbers mean, what these figures mean. This is a site called Schoolscope, which actually shows a happy face or a sad face on a school, that simple, just to signify if the school is doing well or if the school is not doing very well. And it allows people to access data that was very hard for them to interpret before. We've got a very successful site which was recently launched called Where Does My Money Go? And it absolutely does what it says on the tin. It answers the question, where does my money go? And this is actually a visualization of the recent budget and the impact of the budget deficit that's happening in the UK. And people can actually see this data come to life and realize what these numbers, what these figures, what these very complex data means. The other side of the coin of this data is transparency and accountability. There's a very successful website called theyworkforyou.com, which reminds public service officers that they actually work for the people and they are accountable to the people. And this is a list of all the MPs and everyone in public office in the UK, and they provide data of the way they have voted about information, the way they have claimed their expenses, the way they've done their business and conduct their affairs. And this is to promote accountability and transparency across the board. Another example of using this data is to collect feedback and to use this feedback to make better services. This is happening across the health service with the NHS in the UK. And people are starting to share stories that are collated as sort of collaborative feedback to make the service better, for people to understand how to make the service better, what experience they're having with various institutions. A lot of this work has been preceded for a number of years now by many very active people working in this field, and also going about changing funding mechanisms. Now, Channel 4, the public service broadcaster in the UK, put up a £30 million fund together, I think it was about 2 years ago now, to be able to work with this data and to make startups really go for this data. And this is the site. They're welcoming applications from everywhere for people with interesting ideas about this data. And it's moving the public money into innovation funds to build things that people want. And that's the really interesting and important message. So who cares about this stuff? Because obviously we need people to care about this, and we need people to be actively campaigning for this. So we have governments who want to see a PR win. We have transparency advocates who want more efficient and honest government. We've got citizen advocates who want services and information to make their lives better. But we've also got people just making stuff for fun. You know, people that just want to find out where the nearest toilet. So people are doing apps for fun as well as anything else. So how can we sort of how can we make sure that these apps appear? How can we what sort of tips can we sort of start tonight to make sure that we start thinking about these apps? And the key thing to start off with is to figure out what you want the world to look like and why. And this is quite an important point, really, because people need to be able to see what it is we're doing and why we're doing it. And you might have interests in making a better society for citizens. You might want to run a social enterprise, a business, and make money from it. We might want to see a lack of corruption in government. There's all sorts of issues about why someone would want to spend their time making these applications. And the underlying message in all of this is that we have to make websites and applications that people will want to use. And it's all about the users. And it's all about making sure that people are comfortable with what you're doing and to make something as easy as possible for someone. Hence the examples we've seen with making data about schools easier, about the NHS and the public service easier. It's about making things easier for people so people can feel connected and to feel that this data connects with them and impacts their life. So I'm really looking forward to having a further debate about this evening and to delve deeper into the open data and how, of course, Italy can work with various partners to make this happen. So,
thank you.